Hey Virgo, I hope you guys are doing well. We're going to get right into this general reading for the first 2 weeks of June for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I'm going to have a little bit of a different approach today, guys. For about the first 10 minutes or so, I am going to be speaking astrology, okay? And the eclipses that are upon us, and specifically where it's going to be hitting Virgos. If you don't want to hear that, guys, no offense, I'm going to timestamp, okay, in the description box. I'm going to be pulling the cards. Oh, look, oh my gosh, Virgo, we got you for your crowning energy. I'm going to timestamp. So if you want to just fast forward to the reading, check the timestamp and just fast forward to that. For the rest of you, hang with me for a second while I pull the cards for your Celtic cross spread. During the pre-shuffle and my meditation, I did pull these two cards that I have out right here, which is the Hermit, and which is you, right? That's you guys, and the Moon. So getting that you guys are doing a lot of thinking. You're really pensive. You're really in a space of getting to the underbelly of things to understand why things are as they are, which is very much a Virgo thing. All right, so let's pull these, and we're going to talk about the eclipses, and we're going to talk about them because this is a pretty profound one, the Cancer Capricorn one, and we're going to discuss exactly why and how, especially if you have cardinal placements throughout your chart. Now, I know this is a Virgo video, but you can have, we all have other placements in our chart. So if you have any of the cardinal signs, Cancer, Aries, Libra, or Capricorn, you're going to be really feeling this eclipse even more. But we're all going to be feeling it. All of us are. So I'm going to break it down really simplistically so that you guys can understand on a very practical level how this might be impacting you. So first of all, when it comes to eclipses, we need to think about them as more of a story than anything else, and one that takes about 2 years to unfold. So there are two types of eclipses, solar and lunar. So the solar eclipses occur during the new moon phase when the sun and the moon are positioned at the exact same degree within the sign. What's important to know here is that the moon passes between the sun and the earth, temporarily obscuring the sun. And then the lunar eclipse, on the other hand, corresponds with the full moon phase. So during that time, the moon emanates the earth's shadow. So it's this like idea of like a shadowy element. And eclipses happen between 3 and 7 times a year. And I know that's a weird span, but it does depend on the years that we're talking about. And they typically happen in clusters. But what's important for us to understand right now is that this eclipse story that we're in right now started on July 13th of 2018. And it's going to continue until next summer of 2020. With it on the Cancer Capricorn axis. Okay, so this eclipse continues the summer with the solar eclipse in Cancer on July 2nd and the partial lunar eclipse in Capricorn on July 16th into 17th. And this the final wrapping up of this eclipse story is going to hit July 5th into 6th of next year at 13 degrees Capricorn. Okay, so what does all that mean? So astrologically speaking, eclipses speed up time, and they open new doors by slamming others shut. So we also typically, and very often, we find very abrupt and sudden shifts during these energies, and that can be very jarring and all of that. But the thing is here, whatever is being eclipsed out, it's inevitable that it's going to be eclipsed out of your life, right? So if you've been dragging your feet and you need that extra shove to take some needed action, that's exactly what the eclipse is going to do. And again, while it might be shocking, just understand that these events are going to happen anyway, and that as hard as they are, they're cyclical, right? So anytime there's a culmination, it's always on the edge of a new beginning. So you really want to pay attention to what's happening in your life right now, because you can be sure to anticipate some major pivots in your life over the next 2 years. So as an example, think back to the past 2 times we had this energy, the Cancer Capricorn axis eclipse. 2000 to 2002. Think back to 2000 to 2002, what was going on in your life. And then think back to 2009 to 2011, what was going on there. I'm going to use myself as an example. This is not about me. This is just to help illustrate what we're talking about. When we're dealing with eclipses, there's a swapping out of energy. Something gets taken away, something gets put in place. Sometimes we get the gift before something is eclipsed out. So in my case, in 2000, I gave birth to my twin boys. And that was a huge gift, as it is for any parent. But for me in particular, and anyone who had struggles having children, I was told I could not have kids. And I very serendipitously met, through my business, an IVF specialist through NYU, who worked through NYU Medical Center, and she helped me get pregnant for my boys, and I had them in 2000. This was a major gift in my life. But then 18 months later, my mother, who I was extremely close with, passed away. So I had this incredible gift, and then I had this incredible loss within this eclipse story, this narrative of this eclipse. Fast forward to 2009. Between 2009 and 2010, I decided to divorce my husband at the time, and I knew I needed to do it. I was dragging my feet. I knew I had to do it. I got the shove by the eclipse. I knew I had to do it. And I ended up completely transforming myself in ways that I never would have had I stayed with him. Up to that point, I was very entrenched in the health and wellness industry. I was a long-term massage therapist, personal trainer, aerobic instructor. I owned a gym in Manhattan for 10 years. It was what I did, you know. And then I completely switched gears and I transitioned into higher education. Went back for an even further degree. I already was quite educated at that point and went even further. So my whole life changed. The trajectory of my whole life changed within that narrative, right? So just think about those years for you guys and apply how it might seem fit, okay? But now, dealing with you guys, right, and this particular eclipse, and how is it going to hit you? It's important for you guys to understand that not all Virgos are created equal. We have early degree, middle degree, and late degree. And it's just important to understand, especially for those who you might maybe have like a sibling who's also a Virgo, and you're like, I am nothing like my brother or sister, or a friend or a partner, and you just have these very notable differences. Obviously, it could be because there are other things going on in your chart, but it can also be according to your degree placement within it, okay? So for those of you who are born in the month of August or from 0 to 9 degrees, I'm going to give you the degrees because this does also apply for your rising, your moon, and your Venus. Obviously, your birthday would not be helpful there, so you would be looking at the degrees of which you would fall. And those of you familiar with placements know what I'm talking about. Okay, so early born or August born are 0 to 9 degrees. September 1st to 10th would be a middle degree at 10 to 19 degrees. And then September 11th and on, those would be a later degree, 20 to 29 degrees. So we have this Cancer solar eclipse at 10 degrees, and the solar is typically where the gift is brought in at. And then we have a 24 degree Capricorn lunar eclipse, which is typically where we're going to have something eclipsed out, all right? But there's this funneling of energy between these polarities, which is important for you to understand. Again, the solar typically brings new beginnings, new opportunities, new directions, as the lunar eclipse eclipses something away or brings something to a culmination. So for you early degree, the solar, or where the gift is going to be coming in, is in your 11th house. So this is all about opportunities, networking, new friends, big dreams, the really big dreams. I mean, the ultimate life dreams. Like really where you see yourself going. So that's where the gift is coming in. Where something may be getting eclipsed out is with the lunar eclipse in the 5th. So this is the house of pleasure. Children are involved in there. This is also new romantic relationships. This could be a new romantic relationship coming in that may not end, or the ending of a relationship, or maybe the ending of a chapter within a relationship. It does not have to mean a total ending. But see, we have this polarity of these energies, right? Because while we have the gift coming in at the 11th, which is, let's just say, opportunities, right? Let's just use that as an example. So let's say you get a new job opportunity, but that job opportunity ends up deeply impacting your home life or your relationship because it's very demanding. So that's an example of how that polarity can work. You know, so you get the gift in the one house, but then it deeply ultimately ends up impacting the other. If that makes sense to you. Now, the middle degrees, it's the same as the first, except you have the addition of the 10th house, which is straight up work, social status, and friend circles, as well as your 4th house of home, family, and parents. Okay? So those are going to be, same thing, but those are going to be added to the middle placements. Now, lay placements, something's going to be coming into your 10th house of work, social status, and friend circles, while something is going to be eclipsed out of your 4th house of home, family, parents. Now, before you flip out, this does not mean death. This does not have to mean death at all. I just need to say that. This is about the changing of energy as it was. So this could just be the changing of any kind of dynamic. And the examples are like endless because we're all very different. And I just wanted to give you guys a basic foundation. I'm going to be covering this more in depth for the last 2 weeks of June. This story is happening over this 2-year period. But what's happening in July is everything's kind of rising up to the surface to make us look at it more and to really force us to look at these placements. So I'm going to be pulling cards for these houses for each of the signs in addition to my last 2-week read. So I just wanted to give you guys, though, a little lay of the land first, okay? Now let's start the tarot reading for the first 2 weeks of June. All right, so as I said in my pre-shuffle, I did get the Hermit and the Moon for you guys. So getting lots of thinking about things that might be under the surface, okay? Your crowning energy, that's incredible. We got an I analyzed. It's Virgo. That's you. I love that. So let me just tell you about you. This just tells me that you're probably going to have an extra added influence right now in your 1st house itself. Okay, but what are the key traits of Virgo? Worry and organization. You guys are very picky and exacting, and you can be insanely organized. You're very helpful to others. And even though you can be quite critical, this usually applies to yourself as well. You guys are hard on yourselves. Very conscientious, very highly intelligent, and you'd often prefer to step back and analyze the situation before moving ahead, okay? But yeah, listen, I mean, I love Virgos. I really do. They're just like the most efficient people. You're just like the most efficient sign, and you have everything figured out. But you guys are worrywarts, at least the archetype is. And you worry a lot about things like health and possible disasters and any sudden change that you might fear. And that's going to resonate with each of you differently. But there's always this sense that you'd prefer to return to simpler times. And I guess in a way we would all love that sometimes, but Virgos in particular do crave the simpler times. But getting this card in the reading, it indicates like you focusing very much on your health, your lifestyle, and your job right now. Like really those being like just very important issues for you. And the thing is here though, with this energy, if you are expecting things to go normally or as planned, that will likely not be the case, okay? And you do want to watch out for critical people who seem to pick at all you do, or you might be extra picky during this time, right? It can go either way. Regardless, this is a great energy and a great time to get rid of any clutter, living a cleaner life, focusing on details, doing what needs to be done, all that should be your focus. Other concerns would be like your daily routine, your 9 to 5 responsibilities, your mundane goings on, that might need attention. Getting organized right now will really, really work for you. This is also an energy that suggests how you need to be reliable in your approach, because any problems in your life right now, they're not going to just go away. So you really have to put the work in and address them, but it's all going to end up really great. And Virgo, you're such a gentle sign. You really are. You're very typically mild. It depends on what else is in your chart, but you are typically mild. So you're really going to find great solace in hanging out with small animals during this period and being at one with nature if you can, right? That's going to be very helpful for you. Okay, so getting right into your spread, we have the 4 of Cups reverse as the space that you're in right now, which is a Moon and Cancer energy, which tells me that many of you are not feeling very satisfied right now, and you feel very ready for a change, but you don't yet know what you want. So if this is resonating with you, it's important to try new tactics at work and address what needs changing in your relationship or your environment. It's important for you to really express your needs right now rather than locking them up, As many of you are feeling like you've had quite a run of bedlock, one issue after another, and you're in a space of self-protection, which is very understandable. But in order for you to move forward in the way that you want, like that you see in your mind's eye, this is going to require you to open yourself up again. But before doing so, you're going to feel like you need to have a very clear path identified in front of you. You know, there's an echo of like I always get like an echo of the Hangman energy when I get this card reversed. You know, one that makes you feel like you're in limbo. But this is all about you taking control to make life happen. And understand, listen, this is a minor arcana, which means that it's temporary and change is very possible in the way that you'd like. So just keep that in mind, right? This is not a major arcana. It's not a long-lasting energy. And then in the card that's crossing you here, we have the King of Pentacles, which is an air of earth energy. It's Aries and Taurus association, and it has an influence that indicates conflict will be resolved in any part of your life, but particularly relationships. And relationships are going to offer security and loyalty. This can also indicate financial and property matters improving for you right now, and you're just feeling generally more comfortable and enjoying some level of success. And I love that as your crossing energy, because that sort of offsets this Four of Cup energy, because the crossing energy kind of veils the reading. I always like to think of it as. So I do like that because it's very positive, which is great. And then we have in the best to be achieved in the circumstances position, we have the Queen of Wands energy, which is a Pisces and Aries association. And this is a space where ideas are going to flourish and you're going to be able to show others what you can really do. This is the time, Virgo, for you to really fire up your enthusiasm and express yourself. Like show the truest version of yourself. And also reflect on how you're managing your life just now to make sure that you have time to make the space for the opportunities coming your way, because you are going to be getting opportunities. Remember, Wands are well in its movement, okay? But overall, this indicates that you're going to have the strength you need and your relationships are going to be energized. You know, romantic relationships, friendships, family ties, and even professional contacts are going to be really good right now. This really is all about you stepping into your power, which is awesome. And then we have the foundational energy here, which is the Ten of Swords, which is an air element, and it's Mercury and Virgo. And I know this can be a scary card when you see it because the traditional interpretation is ruin. And I know that sounds really scary, but it does not, however, mean death or destruction. You know, like crazy, you know, out of nowhere. This is the kind of culmination of situations created over time, one sword at a time. It could be one poor choice after another over time, or allowing people or circumstances to walk on you until things fall apart. You know, this can happen also from gossip and manipulation over time, can also cause this. But whatever is ending here clears the way for new possibilities, and you may find that the finale of this situation to be a release of frustration and stress for you. So in your personal life, bonds of friendship may break, and there may be no turning back, and this unfortunately is unavoidable. But with hindsight, Virgo, you're going to see that certain people in the group, because I'm getting it's a group, who were causing you the stress, they should never have been in your life in the first place. Okay? And this can indicate a dramatic ending, I do have to say, in an intimate relationship, but I actually hardly get that for this. It's typically I get it where it applies more to a group situation rather than an individual. But this does indicate the end of an era, you know, where there was strife and upset. It's going to be over. And any health issues, such as, you know, nothing serious, I'm not getting anything serious, but any health issues you might have been dealing with, like low energy or exhaustion or anxiety that you may have been feeling because of this situation, is going to improve. So it's going to lift. So that's entirely positive, okay? And then in your past energy, we have the Six of Pentacles reverse, which shows that in the past, you were in a space where money was coming into you, but you weren't able to keep it. And typically this is because of carelessness. So this is a general reading. It could be from a number of things. I mean, yeah, for some of you, it could have been that you got your wallet stolen, or, you know, or some variation of that. It does typically indicate carelessness with money. And for others of you, you could have been waiting, maybe like a money offer came in, but you were very unhappy with the conditions that surrounded it. and you were really bummed out about it, but you didn't accept it, and that was actually the smart thing to do because other options are going to be showing up for you, okay? And then in the near future, we have the Six of Swords, which is an air element. It's Mercury and Aquarius association, which shows me you moving on from one situation or relationship and enjoying a period of peace. You know, and this can manifest mentally rather than physically by you taking a more detached approach to something and distancing yourself from the drama and complications surrounding another person or a situation for a time. You know, this gives you an opportunity to really rest and recharge, and maybe you need to just, you know, think about and explore a new environment that you feel might make you much happier, you know. For relationships, this does indicate two people spending time apart, right? We do have to honor the standard interpretation of this card. It can mean a relationship ending, but it doesn't have to. It depends on your situation. And for others of you, in a more literal way, this can simply show you taking a break from work or your usual environment because you're just so damn tired. You know, I'm getting that for a lot of you guys. Just this need for just taking a break, for sure. Yeah. And then the energy representing you, we have the Five of Pentacles reversed here. And this tells me that you're in a place where you're being pushed to examine your values. You know, if you're clinging to objects, people, or money, you know, what are you avoiding exactly, you know? Do you have... I don't know. I mean, is there like growing tension in a relationship? Are you hoarding old possessions and memories to make you feel safe? It's like you don't have confidence or faith in the fact that you're going to be supported in the way that you need in the future. Or at least you feel like that right now. You know, but as with all minor arcana cards, though, this is a temporary influence. So for many of you in relationships, you may suffer right now due to a partner's selfish behavior. I do have to say that. Like, this person doesn't want to give you emotionally, or he or she withholds money. Like, this can just show you not being treated very well by an ex-partner in particular who doesn't pay what's due. Yeah, so maybe in a divorce situation or something like that. And then in your external influence, we have the World reverse here, which shows me that you're ready to move on, but you feel blocked, or you don't feel like you're deserving of success, Virgo. And this is kind of like getting in your way, because this is bringing negative juju into your space, and this is just like to be mindful of, okay? This can also show you hanging on to one ambition that eludes you, and if so, it's time to redefine what you want, you know, and adjust your expectations, since I'm getting that a lot of you are clinging on to some sort of like dream to the exclusion of everything else. So alternatively too, you may feel eclipsed by somebody else's shining light. Like you just feel like you're not where you should be, or you're just not feeling good about yourself in a certain area. But overall, however, the negatives here again are minor, and you are going to get what you deserve, because this is a very positive card. The World is the most positive card in the deck. So you're going to get what you deserve. It just may take a little longer to become obvious. But in the meantime, just keep the faith, and you're going to really be fine, okay? And then in your hopes and fears positions, we have the Nine of Swords, which is a Mars and Gemini. I call this the 3 a.m. card, because it just explains this energy so clearly. It's that, you know, what wakes you up in the middle of the night? You know, it's what indicates anxiety and any sort of mental health issue associated with that. Could be like a panic disorder, just depression, anything. But you fear this thing. Again, you fear this anxiety, you know? It's like you have this hope and this desire for this other way of living, but you're feeling very anxious about it actually coming to fruition. But you need to understand what this energy is, and that it also indicates the habit of worry. So you might just be worrying about inconsequential things that don't even warrant your attention, Virgo, really. You know, and anyway, another minor arcana, so who cares? It's not going to last. Things happen, you know. But please don't fall into this pattern of worry for this, because it's temporary. And again, positive vibes in your space, positive vibes, because you have so much positive stuff going on here, and positive stuff eclipsing in with this eclipse season. So yeah, positive vibes. And then look, your outcome card, we have the Empress, which is all about abundance and material comfort and security and receiving and giving emotional support. So this is awesome. This is a very auspicious card for children and families and things going well at home. This is a great energy too for those of you who want to start a family, like those of you who want to try to get pregnant. It's great energy to do that. But this is really all about you being resourceful and you having everything that you need right now. And this is a very nurturing space. I really like it. It's because it's very the mother space. It's this nurturing, you know, that being like right in the pocket of love and home kind of thing, which is beautiful. This does indicate happiness in relationships. If you're single, this does suggest a great time to begin a new relationship. Those of you who are in established relationships, this is a very harmonious time. And regarding career and money, this indicates security. So money is going to be flowing in and you're going to be very resourceful right now. Definitely. And a lot of you who have homes are going to be thinking about doing renovations or maybe even adding an extension onto your home, some kind of home improvement. Some of you may even be considering moving to a new home. And many of you are going to be seeking solace by tending to some sort of garden or spending a lot of times in the outdoors, which we actually also got for your oracle. So I do like that for you. Yeah, good stuff, Virgo. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, that's what I have for you. Guys, have a great first 2 weeks of June, and I will see you at the end of the month. Take care. Bye-bye.